Kshitij himself is here now, so please invite him with a big round of applause.
So let's begin with the presentation. Hey, I guess this is the wrong one. This is not mine. Life never goes as I plan it to be. Have you ever planned something that didn't quite work out the way you wanted? Maybe life had different plans for you. Or maybe you would have missed an opportunity. You know, when Ted invited me to speak here, I was pretty clueless. What was I going to speak about? I'm just a 24-year-old guy whose career started because of his first heartbreak. And moreover, let me tell you one thing. I'm not a genius. I'm not a prodigy. I don't even plan anything. And more than that, I have had more failures than I even care to admit. But the thing about failure, it has a way of humbling you. It keeps you ungrounded. I had to learn it the hard way that success isn't something that you will get by good grades or being the most talented person in the room. But it is more about consistency, hard work, and having a never giving up attitude. So today, I'll tell you a story of a 24-year-old guy who tried very hard to achieve the things that he wanted in his life. But life had different plans for him. I was born in a basic Indian middle class family with the same ideologies of getting the best grades in the school. I was not good in academics. But yeah, the two things that I was good at was football and Garba. Oh, Gujarati chhu hai. So after that, my second goal was to get into a good university and to do my bachelor's there. After that, I wanted to move abroad and get settled down there. आखिर हर एक माँ बाप की ख्वाहिश होती है ना कि वो लोग इंडिया से अपने बच्चों को बाहर पढ़ने भेजें या उधर सेटल होने के लिए भेजें, पर मैं तो वो कर नहीं पाया और अगर मैं उधर होता तो आज इधर नहीं होता. Can you see this image? Taylor Swift, Princess Diana, Shah Jahan, and John Lennon. There is one thing common in all of these people. Can you guess what that is? All of them had a transitional phase in their life after their first or the other heartbreak. Yes, heartbreak was one of those things that made them transition into something. And similarly, during my college life, I had my first heartbreak. So my first heartbreak, I felt pretty lost. I had so much of energy inside me, I didn't know what to do, where to go or whom to talk to. The only people who stood beside me was my mother and two of my friends. All of my college friends became friends with secrets. I didn't know what I had to do. Thus, that helped me to find my ikigai, and that was photography. I started taking pictures of different things that resonated with the feeling that I had inside me. I saw that people started noticing my work, and I knew the next thing that it became a medium for me to communicate with everyone. But photography was a very crowded market, and I had a gist to stand out. So what did I do? I started learning the other ways of visual phototelling, and those were illustration, visual effects, and I also had a solo trip to Himachal to learn filmmaking. Do you guys remember the two things I was good at during my school life? Garba and football. I had also won a prize in a Garba competition, and that was a 10-day free Photoshop workshop. I started implementing Photoshop elements in my pictures that I was capturing, and that is when I understood taking a picture was just half of the story, and adding a Photoshop element to it made it full. I loved the process of creating a digital artwork, and from that day till today, I have created more than 300 digital artworks and 500 plus designs. With that, I never got an opportunity to travel to New York, but my art surely did. I'm super stoked to share that next month I'll be presenting my artwork in New York. Speaking of art, have you seen the movie Everything, Everywhere, All at Once? You know, that movie just won an Oscar. And the most fantastic thing about that, a movie like that needs more than 500 or hundreds of VFX artists to pull off such an amazing visual effect. But this movie had only 9 of them. 9 of the self-taught artists who were there, who were working on that movie, even in a tight budget. And they were able to pull off an Oscar. I'm not discriminating that learning something the traditional way is wrong. But I'm just telling you that the self-taught artists or the self-taught people just know what they want to do. And they don't get into things that are imposed upon them. I told you guys that this movie was created on a tight budget, right? Similarly, there was a time when me and my family faced a financial crisis. We were on a tight budget. I could see my mother turning her hobby into a business and my father trying new ventures again and again and again. We all see those reels and get inspired by it. But yeah, I could see 2 CEOs in my house and I knew from where I was getting the inspiration to work hard. One thing I knew, or the one thing that hurt me the most, that I'm gonna miss the opportunity to do my masters. So what did I do next? The only skill I knew was photo manipulation. I moved forward with freelancing. I worked with NGOs, I worked with studios, and I worked wherever I could get an opportunity to give my best or who was ready to pay me.
Amen.
And believe me, freelancing was a task. It was an obligation. But I had no other option. And I wasn't a quitter back then. I moved forward with freelancing, which also helped me to grab my first job. One day, I received a phone call from a budding marketing agency. They asked me, "तू आर्ट अच्छा बनाता है, हमारे ब्रांड के लिए बनाएगा?" Without thinking anything, I said, how much are you going to pay me? They were ready to pay me the industry level salary that was given to a graphic designer. I knew it was a no-brainer and I had to say yes. I started working in that startup. And the beauty of working in a startup is that you are doing everything. From filling bottles to working on not so expertise area. I was everywhere. I was learning and observing things. I learned how to create a website. I learned how to make a hoarding design. Moreover, I even learned the difference between design and art. Do you guys know the difference between design and art? I'll tell you. Design is problem solving, whereas art is thought provoking. Design is a skill, whereas art is talent. To sum this up, if design is not profitable, then it is art. For the first 2 months, when I was working in the startup, I had very rigid days. I couldn't cope up with things. I was an artist and not a designer. I could see my boss, who had zero experience in design, but still was creating better artworks than me, better graphic designs than me. And that was the time when I understood that design is not something that I had to learn, but it was a skill that I had to develop. Moving forward with that, you would be thinking, his introduction was about NFTs, metaverse and blockchain. ये कहाँ design और art की बात कर रहे हैं? So yeah, I went into the world of cryptocurrency. One of my seniors introduced me. I was always looking for different ways to earn my passive income. He told me, invest in this particular token, and the next day I was reaping profit. I knew I had to figure out this thing. So what did I do? I started trading crypto on one of the biggest platforms in India. Who taught me crypto trading? The one who taught me art. YouTube, Google and my uncle. The platform on which I was trading crypto also was the same platform which introduced me to the concept of NFT. What is an NFT? Non-fungible token. I know you won't understand out of a full form. So yeah, I'll tell you something. Imagine that I have 6 lakh rupees in my pocket. And this is 1 Bitcoin. The price of this 1 Bitcoin is around 24 lakh and it keeps on fluctuating as cryptocurrency is very volatile. Can I afford a 24 lakh Bitcoin? I just have 6 lakh rupees, right? So what would I do? Now this is 0.5 and 0.5 Bitcoin, each costing 12 lakh rupees. I still have 6 lakh rupees. I can't afford it. Now this is 0.25 Bitcoin and this is 0.25 Bitcoin, each costing 6 lakh rupees. Now can I afford it? Yes. So cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and other altcoins are a fungible token. What does it mean? A fungible token is something that can be divided in fractions. So what is a non-fungible token? It is something that cannot be divided into fractions. Can you see this watch? How do you know that this watch is mine? I might have stolen this. Or I didn't buy it from anywhere. You would say, you will ask me to showcase the bill. I am a good Photoshop artist. I can easily create a fake one. So, if this watch was an NFT, then you would know the date and time when this watch was created. Who is the owner of this watch? And where this watch is going from time to time. And that is the beauty of blockchain and NFT. And NFT can be anything. It can be a tangible good like this watch, to a meme, to a digital artwork, and to anything, even this speech, if anyone wants to own this. Moving forward with NFTs, I sold my first NFT for 0.1 Ethereum, which was around 40,000 or something at that time. Now, I knew I was making more money than my freelancing job at that time. So I had to be in this industry anyhow. I moved forward with it. I started creating more and more NFTs and I started selling them on every blockchain that I could be present. My life became super tedious. My timetable was 10 to 8:30 job, 8:30 to 9:30 have my dinner and rest, 9:30 to 11 o'clock I would do my freelancing, and 11 to 2 a.m. I would promote and create my NFTs. Yes, I was drained. Yes, it was unhealthy for me. So what did I do? I left my job and I became a full-time NFT artist and a part-time freelancer. I started freelancing with a blockchain fan engagement company which was founded by my uncle. And being in the world of NFTs, I realized one thing, that it is not a stable source of income. Here, in some months, I could reap out lakhs, and in some months, not even hundreds. And in the same time, the company with whom I was freelancing for marketing and branding, they got an investment of $30,000, and I knew I had to make a switch here. So I took my NFT as my part-time and started working with them as a full-time. You know, working with the first startup taught me about designing, branding and marketing. Now this second startup was a Web3 company and it taught me about how finance are maintained. How do you create different blockchains? How do you manage a team? And what things are needed to make a startup into a company? Yes, I was learning. And yes, I was growing. And I became confident enough to understand, to see the trends in the Web3 world, in the crypto world. And the next trend that I was seeing was metaverse. So first, cryptocurrency came in. Then NFTs. Then NFTs with utility. And then the usage of NFTs in the metaverse. I created my own metaverse, a private metaverse. In the world full of open metaverses. This is the image of it. and I called it Cosmos. There, I reached out to my uncle, who was also my first investor. But slowly and gradually I knew that this particular project needed an external help. I reached out to traditional investors for more money, as I had realized this project needed much more workforce and a good amount of financial capital. But with the learnings I had while working on this project, I knew that I would get a better opportunity out there. So the investor whom I pitched in the concept, he proposed an idea to work on a similar metaverse that his company was creating. I knew this can be a good opportunity to learn about this industry. After that, I always had a keen energy to do something of my own. वो एक कीड़ा होता है ना कि मुझे खुद का कुछ करना है. I knew my metaverse didn't work and I was learning about it out there. So I started creating the pitch deck about another idea that I had, and that was a decentralized social media. I called it Hype. But till the time I completed the pitch deck of this, I knew that Meta was creating something, and they implemented similar features out there in Instagram. I knew I had to leave this, because whatever I took to create in 1 year, Meta could implement it in a year. That was the story of 2 of my startup failures. You know, my 24-year-old journey, I'm not saying I've done a lot of things, but I would really love to quote my inspiration, Sir Steve Jobs. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. And you just have to trust the process. You somehow need to know that the dots will definitely connect in the future. Maybe the heartbreak wouldn't have happened. I would have missed the opportunity to be an artist. Maybe the financial crisis wouldn't have come up. I wouldn't know what hard work is. Maybe if I wouldn't have been working in the startup, I wouldn't be advising different companies right now. And maybe if the failure of my metaverse and decentralized social media wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't be having my own cryptocurrency right now. Life is always gonna throw different opportunities and different obstacles at you. You just need to work hard, keep your head straight up, give your best and leave the rest. So, have you ever planned something that didn't quite work out for you? Thank you everyone, and this was my Stories Behind Stories.